client reviews and the process and why is it so important to us. So firstly, what are we hoping you'll get out of today? It's about having an effective review process, but also it's about understanding and learning how a more automated set of workflows and processes can help you manage those tasks more efficiently, more effectively, and more consistently. We'll look today at how we can use technical solutions like Client Portal and digital signature to improve our engagement with our client. And we'll see this in live. So we'll actually do that in a live example today. Reviews are the most significant part of what we do as advisors. Research that we undertook said that anywhere up to 90% of client activity is spent with our existing clients. Your business might be slightly different, but typically advisory businesses have a significant weight of existing client activity, and managing that review activity is really quite time consuming, particularly because around 2/3 of those reviews are relatively light touch, what we call financial cuddles. They're really important as a part of rebasing the relationship and validating the fees that we take, but people don't often have significant changes to what they do. So we've been undertaking a lot of research with our clients, looking at the amount of time that's taken and to try and optimize that. And you can see in this quick slide that the ability to move to a more digitized, video-based meeting could drive even more significant changes, reducing the time by more than 50% and if not higher for certain types of meeting. So we'd be really keen to explore that with you individually if you're an Xplan user or looking from the outside. And why use technology? Well, it's really simple. The use of technology is becoming ingrained in everything that we do. We talk about the COVID effect significantly changing the dynamic in relationships with clients, but even before the COVID crisis, we were experiencing a change in the way that clients meet with their advisor. So it's about empowering you to do what you do best, and to help you deal with your clients in the way that best suits their needs, and to meet people's expectations of a more digitized, a more interactive relationship. So what we're going to do is take a view across a simple journey. We're going to look at a typical review, how we use notifications and email and portal to start engaging with our client, using check-in functionalities, reviewing changes, carrying out our meeting, potentially using a video meeting just like this, and the automatic preparation of advice documents and change of status. Now, you'll remember, those of you who attended the session with Adam, how Lyndhurst had adopted some of this automated functionality to drive a much more visible view within their business and within their clients around how you can manage that review and activity. And we're going to share some of that. But what you'll see from this graphic is it doesn't mean that we aren't able to go back to a more traditional face-to-face or holistic view if a person's needs have changed, if they have new assets to consider, if their risk profile has changed significantly. So we'll look at how we manage that as part of what we do. And we need to be agnostic as to the way that we do it. So we're increasingly seeing people use more digitized solutions, whether that's undertaking reviews through their tablet or their laptop, through their phone, through video meetings. And in fact, a vox pop of end clients that we undertook at the beginning of this year suggested that a significant number of them valued the meeting that they had with their advisor, be that half yearly or yearly. But some of the anecdotal feedback was really quite amusing. One client said that they really valued the meeting with the client, but they didn't like the fact that they had to dress up and tidy the house before the meeting. So having a video meeting was much more direct and intuitive, and it was more timely as well for them and the advisor. So having a change in the way that we engage can be really helpful. And using a set of tools that allows you to be digital first, to engage the client and to bring them into the technology really helps. So in this case, I'm looking at around family tree planning and cash flow planning as one of the ways that we might drive some of those solutions. And what does an effective client review look like? It's engaging. We're using the power of our technology to support what we do, and we're automating the process. And that's what I intend to take through today. So hopefully this is going to be useful, and you'll see that as we drive the change. So just take off my diary. I'm starting in Xplan, so hopefully everybody can see that. I'm going to walk you through my process. We're going to spend some time with one of my clients, Jack. So Jack is married to Anne, and we're going to look at their review. Now, I'm using the effective diary management and activity management within Xplan to drive that activity. And you'll see in my reviews across here that review has come up. I've had a prompt that there's an upcoming review today. The system's done that automatically. And actually, it's triggered a set of activities for me to manage so that we can start to address that within the system. So let's go into Jack's record and to start to follow that process and see how that has been automated and driven. So we're opening up Jack's record, and you'll see sitting within Jack's dashboard, those of you who are using Xplan extensively are probably starting to see the benefits of the client dashboard as part of the process. So the client dashboard brings together all of my activity and my tasking, and I've got visibility of everybody else's activity with my client. So you can see, I can see everything in here, but I could track by the notes that are available to me, and importantly today, some of the tasks that have been created. So that single point of access is really important. It was something that Adam said that the team at Lyndhurst had started to use extensively to give them that visibility. Those of you who are potentially Advisor Office users will recognize that single point of access through Activity Manager, for example, but this brings all of that activity together. So how have we started to create this? You'll see that I've got a task has been prompted and that review is due. Well, what Xplan has done is to look at the activities due by date. It's initiated something we call a case. And so the case is sitting across here. Now, a case combines powerful workflow and a series of activities and a series of benchmarks that say these are the things that we expect to do as we go through the process. And it brings them together. I'm certainly old enough to remember the days that we would have a compliance folder with inserts to match the updates of data like the fact find and any emails and tasks that we've completed along the way. These benchmarks can be set by you. We give a frame for those pieces of work, and they ensure that I'm following a consistent and straightforward process across the business. And they give me visibility across the business of what activity is being undertaken. So that task has been automatically created. The case has been created as a result of the review being due. So having initiated that, you'll see that the first task in our list is to initiate the client portal review questionnaire. I'm going to walk us through this tasking. Now, clearly I'm going to compress this into the time we have today. We're using the task and thread system within Xplan because that helps guide me through the process in an intuitive and straightforward manner. So you will see I have my task. I'm going to complete this task and save it. There's lots of different places that I can save and manage my tasks. I'm starting this from the dashboard because I might be doing other activity in here. Now that's brought me back through and it's initiated the next task. So where has that, you'll see here, I've got a client meeting. Where has that been initiated? Well, if I look through here, you can see that by completing this task, I've automated a process. Now my client servicing and reviews are automatically managed and recorded in Xplan. That review is due today. You'll see that its status is incomplete, so we haven't fulfilled that yet, but the trigger from completing the task has actually opened something down here in the review status. So the client has the review as being in progress. And what we've done is to use our checklist to initiate some activity with the client. Now, what Jack has received is an email to say that there's something for him to do on the portal, and he's directed to the portal. So just by completing my task, he's going to open up on the portal, and you'll see that we've started to engage using our check-in as part of the process. So I'm now Jack. I'm logging into Jack's portal, and you'll see how that's started to open up those communication points. So you'll see down here, it's time to review the advice that's been given, and Jack wants to get started. I'm not going to go through the portal today, but more than happy if anybody wants more detail around the Xplan portal as part of that process. This is a prompt and a reminder for Jack. This has been sent automatically by Xplan in advance of the meeting. And Jack is given just a simple questionnaire. Our research suggests that clients will take between 5 and 15 minutes to go through those questions, and these questions can be edited and managed by you. So I've kept these fairly tight. So has there been any change in his personal details? No, there hasn't. What about his contact details? No change there. What about family circumstances? Well, yes, there have. And what we can do is capture in the client's own words changes for advice. Now, you'll see I've deliberately kept the number of questions quite light here, just for the purpose of the demo. It sits across our content management system to allow you to edit and phrase the questions in a way that suits your business. So I'll just add some comments in here. So he's got an extra body in the house, and any plans to move home. And a need to move house. And it might be that Jack has come into some new money. He's got nervousness around the market. His risk profile might have changed. He might have had a job change and so on. So we've captured that advice, and we can submit it and replay that back to the advisor. So that's been automatically issued back to the advisor. So if we go back into our advisor process, you'll see a couple of changes. If I just refresh my screen in here, you can see a couple of things that have actually changed. So firstly, I've got a notification automatically in Xplan that changes have been reported. So my review has been updated. And importantly for me, when I look at my dashboard, I'm now back in the advisor or the administrator and planner. You'll see that the notification, the update from Jack has been automatically received. So here's a copy of that review note. So in Jack's own words, the review has been completed, and our advice opportunity has been captured and updated. So that's been sent securely and immediately, and triggering our next actions. So as a result of that, we want to follow through and book a client meeting. So that task has been sent through to us. So we'll quickly complete that meeting update and progress through our review process. Now, we're using Xplan to guide activity because not everybody will be familiar. So I can start to update and move. You'll see as well that I've got the ability to capture comments and updates as part of that process. Now, in this case, because the system knows that Jack is married to Anne, it's a prompt here. Do we want to include Anne as part of the session? I won't for the purpose of this meeting. You'll see it's automatically picked up the type of meeting, and it's given us an opportunity if we wanted to decide whether that was a video meeting and automatically send, for example, our video invitation as part of that process. And the type of meeting is also being captured. So we'll save that meeting and that meeting date. We've got access into our diary, so it's automatically recorded both the meeting, the diary date, it's synchronized that with my Outlook calendar, and it's sent a notification to Jack to update him about the meeting. If we wanted to add an SMS message and so on, we could do that. So I've got prompt for my meeting. From here, I'm going to seamlessly move back into the system so I can use the navigation to easily take me back. Now I can either move back through the advice process, and go into the case that we opened, or I could go back into the dashboard. Now, in this case, I'm going to go back into Case Manager so that we can track the activity that we are following. So you can see here, here's my review and my review activity. I'm just going to go into our review as part of this journey. So we've initiated that review questionnaire and complete it. You can see this is a slightly different interface than the one you saw earlier. And the reason I'm in here is to show how that interrelationship between workflow and tasking and the benchmarks, the items that we want to collect are actually brought together. So you can see my tasks and activity running through here, and you can see the process that we're taking. So I'll just come back in here and we'll work our way through some of those tasks. So we've booked our client meeting. I can complete that task. This will send me back through just as a reminder, back into the diary. And we can manage that. I'll just cancel out of there because we know we've got that meeting in place. You'll see it's reminded us as part of that work. We'll come back into the Case Manager and move through our next tasks. So, you know, the key thing here for me as an advisor and administrator is I've got really clear visibility of where we are in the process. Now, there's a next task being created, which is to start to prepare our review pack. And one of the things that came up from the session with Lyndhurst was the automation that they've taken to prepare packs and data in advance. So let's take a look in this task at what's been done. So you can see within my task, the notification of what's there, but also you can see in here that the system has automatically produced a client valuation. So just by using the workflow within the process, an initial valuation has been created and updated for the client. So I haven't actually had to do anything. I've got my initial update and valuation as part of my tasks and activity. So that's a really key business win for me as part of that process. That's helping me as the planner and the advisor to manage that. Now, by completing this particular task, I could make comments and move them on, but I want the system to guide the user across different aspects of the work. So it's automatically taking me into my review wizard. I've got that valuation updated, but this has also updated me for the type of review. And I'm using one of the powerful wizards within Xplan to help manage that. So you can see I've prepared this for the client. I'm using this as a suitability review rather than just a client report. And I can preset the templates and the management as part of that process. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the wizard items with you, more than happy to take people through that. But you can see I can capture the review details, make any changes to goals and objectives. We know, for example, that Jack has a new objective of looking for a new house because of his mother-in-law moving in. And we can then go to making any recommendations and to pull those through. So we can manage that process. We can bring templated wordings and notes as well as free text for that process. So having completed our pack, potentially we've collaborated with the paraplanning team and the administration team, and we've done that off the back of our client meeting. What I want to do is to prepare the initial suitability report and to share that with the client. So I'm going to produce this review report. I'm going to capture it in here. It's a half-yearly review, and you'll see that I've got a prompt here to say, do I want to send the note to the client and to ask for a digital signature? So I want Jack to read this and to actually take some note that I've captured the details from that meeting correctly. So I'm going to send that through, and that will automatically be shared with Jack through the client portal and a notification. Now, I equally might have emailed that to Jack and used the hub to create that work. So we'll take a look at what's been received in just a second as part of the process. Now, I've just received a notification as Jack. So let's take a look in his messages and documents section on the portal. So you'll see in the messages and documents, firstly, the review agenda that we sent through automatically was created as part of our invitation. And Jack's got a new document to sign. Now, this is what he would have received on the portal with a link to go through, but he can look in his to be signed box to see what's there. So you can see that review report has automatically been issued and sent to Jack as part of our process. So we can take a look at that. This would be a branded document as part of the process with the suitability review and notification, rich graphics and commentary. That's been automatically shared. Now, we've had feedback. So Adam was talking about how Lyndhurst have addressed this and suggesting that just this year they've made savings of over £1,000 in print and postage costs. And one of our clients estimates that they will save something in the region of 10 million pages of documentation by digitizing the output that they share with clients. Now, it's not to say that your client's preferences won't include a paper copy or to have a paper copy in reserve, but having the ability to share downloadable documents with the clients is really useful. Now, I've sent this as a digital signature because I want to make sure that my audit process is managed. Now, what Jack will actually receive is a notification automatically sent through and a quick update with a single use code. That's just been received by me. So just like my bank, that's been sent through and Jack can sign to say that he's happy that that suitability review reflected the session that we had or any new advice that might be there. So that's been moved from the signature box and Jack has had that. So what did we receive back at the office? Well, if I look in here, I can see that there's a signature area for each of my clients. So I have a dedicated signatures hub as part of Xplan and using that functionality to manage and review. So let's take a look at the signatures that are being managed. And I'm going in here because I wanted to see all of the signatures being managed across all of my clients. So I'm looking in here and I want to see finalized documents. So I'm just going to do a quick search and review those finalized documents. And you can see how we're able to move on activities and management as part of that process. So there's our, let's do a quick search again, just update this as part of the process. We can update in here, but if we then go back into Jack's record, you can see Jack's review report just down here at the bottom. What we've also got is maintaining that administration and audit trail in a really simple manner. So back in our documents area and the document notes, those documents and communications have been automatically saved to my client record. They've also automatically been saved to my case record, and that's really powerful. You can see the valuation reports that were produced, but we have a copy of that review report and that notification and the attachment, and more importantly, that attachment has been signed. You can see it's green to show that it's been signed, and I can actually view the metadata that sits behind that. So I can see where it was signed from, what is sort of what time it was done, what device he ran that from, and so on. So we've captured that update in stage. We've captured the documentation and moved that process on. So what's the next task in our list? Well, we could manage that from our dashboard, or we could go back into the case manager. I'm going to go back into the dashboard so that you can see I'm capturing those activities as we go along, automatically recording those against my client record and process. So the next job is to send that review pack to the client. I'll quickly do that. Now we've shared that automatically as part of our process. You'll see that document signature and the review report being saved against our system, and we'll complete that process. One of the things that users of the dashboard will see as well is the ability now to start to see in the dashboard the results of those activities. So you can see I can capture comments, linked documents, and updates, any updates on things like review reports and so on, straight from the area in here. So my next job, having had that review meeting, shared the suitability, is to look at my post review and update meeting, and to just make sure that I'm capturing my notes and my communications. So I want to use the system to help drive that activity and give me some visibility. So by completing that, again, you'll see that's been assigned to me as the advisor. The previous task was actually assigned to me as an administrator. So it's going routing through the business automatically. So I want to capture my client meeting and review notes. And what I want the system to do is to guide me through to the right place. So you'll see it's presented automatically a document note for me to complete. I can complete the meeting note and dates. I can make any changes to Jack's goals and process, making sure that we've got total clarity of what's being brought through. Now that will automatically be saved against the client record, but it's also being saved in here against our case record. So you can see it's being saved against our case and saved against that activity as part of the process. And I can put notifications and updates to keep that visible. Now, we're obviously doing this review in the space of an hour. In reality, your reviews might take significantly longer. The time span between there means that communications across the business become incredibly important. So what's our next task and how do we then manage that? So it's brought me back into our documents area. I'm going to come back into the case and just to see where we're sitting for the rest of our activity. So here's our binary review activity and what's being managed. And you'll see, having taken account of the review and the review meeting, any suitability and recommendation is the next task for us to complete. Again, this is a similar process for what we're working through to update and manage through with the client. And you can see it's going to take us through. It's going to, give us the opportunity to bring through a scenario and options, and to manage through. I'm using a wizard here to manage through as part of my my report, capturing the objectives and goals. It's pre-completing this data from our CRM system and our valuation, so I'm not rekeying data as I go through, driving that efficiency, minimizing the amount of rekeying and data that I need to do. You'll see in the redesign of these suitability documents is the ability to follow the FCA's guidance of a summary short report, but supplementing that with additional information, for example, a fact find report or fact sheets and KFDs that you might have pulled through. I'll move that quickly through as part of the process, and I can generate that suitability, term it, capture the review. So in this case, it's part of our review documents. It's part of a half-yearly review. It's for the client. I won't put another digital signature because I've demonstrated that for you, but I might send that suitability report with a digital signature and to request that the client takes that as an action. And that might be particularly important if one of the results of my action is a fund switch, for example. So by executing, I'm saving that document and I'm moving my process on. I can go back into my case manager and see what the last of my tasks and activities are from here. So we need to confirm the client confirmation, but you saw we did that within the digital signature area. So I can complete that task and just say digital signature received 1509. You can see that I could also link that if I needed to a charge rate if that was relevant as part of the process. Now, this will take me through again, capture any additional notes from the suitability and recommendation. It's going to allow me to link through again and save these. I might automatically save them to a particular piece of advice, but I could also initiate a brand new piece of advice if I wanted to. And the last stage in that process, having got my confirmation back from my client, is to implement the work. So by completing that task, using the dynamic workflow to say, is the client proceeding or not proceeding? And actually, if they proceed, it will close this particular piece of workflow and open up a new implementation thread. So we've been successfully working through with our client, and we can do that. And I'll just OK that. Now, across our benchmarks and looking across our benchmarks, we want to see what activity has been captured and worked through. And you can see that along the way, we've been capturing our non-benchmarks, but also any of the valuation and review reports can now be linked automatically as part of the process. So we're linking our review report and valuations. We've got our valuation reports that are linked together. If we'd have updated the fact find and checked the fact find, we can link that through to our document and actually work through that process seamlessly. This also provides those controls that Adam at Lintest was talking around to make sure that everybody is doing their job consistently and clearly as part of the process. But just as importantly, I've got visibility and I can report on the status and stage that my activities, my reviews have undertaken. So those complete reviews have been managed, and I can track the effectiveness of those. So, you know, any of those review activities that might be included as part of my journey. So I'm able to do that tracking using that combination of workflow, case manager, and case processes to bring together that relationship. But also, just as importantly, I'm able to use functionality like video meetings, digital tools, and the power of my Expand database to bring that data together, and using that to communicate through the portal with check-ins and updates. So what have we covered? Where have we gone through as part of the process today? We've looked at how we can create and initiate simple but very effective workflows to help guide activity across our client bank, to bring together the audit ability of the case manager and the visibility that case manager offers alongside our workflow and tasking, to optimize the sending of tasks to the right people within the business, and to give me MI and visibility to allow that to happen. So hopefully that's been a useful exercise for everybody. More than happy to answer any questions at this point, and if not, I'll bring the session to a close.